Hey guys, welcome back to Mic'd Up State. It's your host KT Temple, and I am here with our brand new ROM, Maria, and correct me if I say this wrong, Gallelli?
Gallelli,
Gallelli?
yes.
Gallelli. There we go. Awesome. Well, we're super excited that you're in the role, and I want to take this opportunity to introduce you to the region and just give the people an opportunity to get to know you.
Sure. Yeah, it's day 4.
Yep.
Uh, day 4. But not day 4 with the company. So I've been with Keller Williams since 2014. I came in as John Clady's um, MCA, and
And which office was that?
that was in Washington Township, South Jersey, because I know there's a Washington Township in North Jersey. And so we that was as part of the Greater Pennsylvania region. So I grew up in the Greater Pennsylvania region in this company. So I got to see some amazing leaders run it and be in it, and I learned from a very awesome and diverse group of leaders. I've seen leaders grow. I've seen leaders come and go. I've seen leaders come back. I've seen leaders move on to other positions. So it just was very cool to, like, I say grow up in this region, but that's what it felt like.
Yeah. Oh, I know how that feels. I started with KW when I was 17, so I really don't know anything else.
There you go. There you go. That's like my kids when I started coaching, because was an MCA. And then when I started coaching, my kids were right at that age where they would turn around to me and say, "Are you coaching me right now?" So
Yeah.
they get all the Keller Williams lingo and they can't stand it and they throw it right back at me.
Well, yeah. My mom was a MAPS coach, and
Yep,
she still knows the tricks.
exactly.
It's tough. It's tough to try to do bad stuff when your mom's a MAPS coach
It
because they
is.
just yeah.
It
Then they
is.
coach you out of doing bad decisions.
Absolutely. Oh, I don't
Gosh.
know if that worked for me, but I did
Uh,
try.
so tell us about your role. What is your responsibilities with the region?
So, seeing it from the outside coming in, I think it's even more than I thought it was, which is even more exciting. This was not a role I aspired to be. I aspired to do more by serving more people, but didn't know what that looked like. And that's kind of why I went into full time MAPS coaching and did Keller Williams University as a trainer, because I was still trying to find the best way I could serve others at a higher level and at a larger level, right? So I didn't aspire for this role, but it's like they've said a lot in this company. It's whatever you're either preparing for your next opportunity or you're robbing yourself from it. So I just made sure that I took advantage of every piece of knowledge, information, opportunity that came my way and embraced it. But there were a couple times where I was like, no, that's not me. I'm not doing that. And and
We
it's
suckered
funny.
you in.
Yep, it's but because um, you don't know what those things are, right? You don't know what they mean, um, and I should know better because with the MCA role was I'm a point one match for an MCA.
Wow.
Yeah, but I love money and numbers and financials and systems and all the things. It's really that day to day. I could do it. I did it. I I did it to the nth degree. Um, I think I was a strong leader of MCAs. Just it wasn't. You just because you're good at something doesn't mean you should be doing it. I don't know how to explain that. All
I
right.
managed a telemarketing office for a while and I was very good at it. And it was the most soulless thing I've,
Right,
I've
and
ever
I
done.
say
Yeah.
that there's a lot of things I learned, but it wasn't what was my passion. It wasn't what got me excited. Like, what gets me excited is when I can wake up in somebody else what was woken up in me, right? Whatever that is, right? If you guys are like somebody is a lot of times in my career, recently I was preparing to move out of my house, and 22 years of stuff that you know that you just go through things. And I looked back at all my performance appraisals from previous jobs, all the different projects that I've worked on. And the funny thing that was in common with all of them up through my career now is I did great in taking what I'm good at and going to each small community and teaching them what I knew and how they could get there with what I knew and understanding it through the numbers, right? Whatever that was. And because I guess that's my magic power is baby being able to break things down into small understandable bites to be able to see how you can go do what you have to do, right?
If we have brand new agents here, can you explain what an MCA's role is within the market center?
So an MCA's role in the market center traditionally started out as the keeper, the protector of the brokerage, right? So what that means is financial stability, processes and systems. But what it evolved to is its systems, its operations, but its relationships, it's keeping the integrity of what we say we're going to do and how we're going to do it. It's keeping everyone in alignment with what we said was going to happen. If we said something in recruiting conversation, making sure we follow through with that, and what does that mean, and what does it look like, and how do we get there? If we said that, when we onboarded an agent and we're doing something, making sure that yeah, we might not know how to do it, and it's something that we might have said we were going to do, or we're going to figure it out, right? It's something new for all of us, and we're going to figure it out. What does that look like? Because that's the only way that you can grow and compete, right? And I have to be honest, when I first started, and the old me, as I grew up in the corporate world, was very much like a traditional MCA. It was like, these are the rules, this is what I do, and I don't want to do anything outside of it. But as I grew up in business and I understood business isn't based on just expenses, it's based on top line growth. And if you have growth, you don't have growth, you have nothing, right? So I had to understand, okay, I'm a control freak. So I need to know, how do I help control growth as well? So where's my input on that? How do I be part of that key performance indicator of making sure that whoever has a handle on growth is successful at it? Even if it's not me directly, how do I indirectly support that? And I think you'll start to see that different people come into the MCA role with different skill sets. And depending on what those are what you like emphasize, put the explanation point on. Not everybody is good at the same things, right? So it's a very unique role in that way, and you have to utilize it based on the person and what they're good at, and emphasize it. And if you could complement that with the strengths of the team leader, oh, then that's a perfect marriage, right?
Yeah, they hire that role, and it's the personality type is normally very black and white,
Mhm.
and so it you do get the gray every now and then, and I find that some MCAs have a tough time navigating through that gray when they don't have somebody like you to help
Yeah,
coach them through it. And by
it,
the
it
way, if
is.
you're a new agent, she's the MCAs are the ones that pay you. So you have to be nice to them. So just remember that always. You have to be nice to the MCA because they cut the checks.
It is. And that's just like one part of it. I would say the it's a very well choreographed dance, the MCA role, because you have to have the skill set to be able to and have the stamina to be able to do what you have to do. But you have to be flexible enough to be able to switch genres of what type of dance are we doing today, right? Who am I performing for today? You
Yeah.
know, like, and you
What's my
have to,
audience?
yeah, who's my audience, right? And you don't have to be, Mr. or Mrs. Outgoing, but you have to know how to adapt, know your audience, um, and use what you have to your advantage, to, keep the business going and keep the relationships. And you'll hear people say all the time, I love my leadership team, right? Well, at the same time, you can love your leadership team, but why do you love them? Do you love them because they call you out and hold you accountable and help you grow, or do you love them because they do what you want them to do all the time? It has to be a dance of both, right?
Yeah. So, what could you teach to a new agent, to an experienced agent? Do you have something you could teach us real quick on something you've experienced that you would like someone to take away from this?
So when I teach agents, it's usually about, I teach agent financials. So what I'm teaching them is,
Which I think tech is hard to teach, but I couldn't imagine teaching numbers. That
well,
that sounds even harder.
so yes and no, right? And I said this on a call the other day, like the path is definitely in the math for everything, right? But if you're teaching, like I was in, early on in my career in my 20s, I worked for, a corporate travel agency, a big one. Um, and they took on Oracle Financials, was their new software they were implementing, and I had to learn it, and I was like not the tech person, and then I had to go explain it. I had to be the person who translated it into what people were doing on a daily basis, right? That in itself reminds me of everything else,
Yeah.
right? So how do I take what the knowledge that I have here and the knowledge that I've obtained from the greats and the people who know what they're doing, right? I don't necessarily, I might be practicing it, but I'm not the expert. But I'm going to help you. I'm going to take what I learned from the experts and I'm going to show you why it makes sense and how to implement it in your world, right? How, and basically what that is how to run a business, right? You have to look at real estate as running your own business, because if you don't, then you're not going to get motivated to go out and get more sales. You're not going to be motivated to up your skill set level. You're not going to be motivated to go to that training because you're not looking at it the way a business owner would look at his business or her business, right?
And a lot of people are doing this as a side gig, especially when they're starting out. And it's challenging to get to that mindset. But I believe you're absolutely right. If you have the same mindset of a lawyer, a doctor, if you take this seriously, other people will start taking it seriously too. But it has to start with you.
Right. And I'm glad you use those as examples, because it's not just about, did you set up the right bank accounts, and are you tracking your expenses accordingly, and do you have goals in mind? It's also, do you know your worth and what your time is worth? Because, and I'm not saying just to go out and create a number. I'm saying that there's a market value for what you do. And are you on market, below market, or above market? Right? And nobody will know that until time on task shows that,
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
it's all, even though we talk about agent financials, we talk about so much. Like we talk about lead gen, we talk about everything, because it's all about how do you run a business and the mindset about running a business. And, like you said, even a part timer. I mean, John Clady was part time, state trooper and doing real estate, but he had goals and he was clear on his goals. And it's okay to have more than one business going if you're treating it as a business.
I delivered pizzas for 2 years. It
Mhm.
pays off eventually.
Exactly. But you know what? You might have motivation for that. You might say to yourself, you know what? When I'm teaching things, it's like, okay, this is feeding your basic expenses, but then this is feeding your future. So you are going to go do that, and you're going to get up and you're going to stay up later. You're going to do this, you're going to do that, because that is feeding your future, so you can convert this active income to passive income at some point.
I always use the example of like when you're starting out, treat real estate like a pet. You got to take care of it every single day.
Every single day.
Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a ton, but just
Can you
little
tell
steps.
my son that?
Yeah. Well, Maria, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and we're super excited to have you on the
Thank you.
team. I know you'll be meeting with the MCAs here consistently very soon now that you're
Yes.
in the role, and I'm sure everybody's very excited about that. We'll have our contact details below, guys. And again, always reach out to your regional team. We're here to support you guys. Just let us know what your goals are. Let us know what we can do to help, and we want to be there for you. We'll be back again every Friday with a new episode. We're actually recording this a week before because we'll be right now when you're listening to it. We're probably just getting back from Mega Camp. So I'm sure next week we'll probably have a bunch of Mega Camp content for you guys. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you again, Maria. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks.